Hello, so we are going to be moving on to the things that you need to think about as you get ready to transfer. So we're just about at the end of our class, and today's topic is called transfer transitions because there's a lot of things that are different once you transfer that you need to be aware of. It's the same thing like when you first started SRJC. It takes a little while to get adjusted and to familiarize yourself with the rules and how to get involved on campus and things like that. So those are the things we'll be talking about today. So first off, you need to pay attention to deadlines. One of the main reasons that students get excuse me, denied is because they did not follow through with their deadlines. So it's important that you get things in when you are supposed to. So the more schools that you've applied to, the more you have to pay attention to these deadlines. So what I would recommend that you do is you keep some type of, checklist for yourself so you're making sure that you're taking care of all business that's required. Once you apply, you will receive an email back from the school welcoming you and asking you to create like a portal account at each campus, and that is how they will communicate with you, is through that portal. So they will send you information through there telling you here's the steps that you need to take to complete our requirements. So you would want to continuously check in on that to make sure they've received your transcripts or you've signed up for orientation or whatever it may be. Don't procrastinate on things. Get them done early so that you're not surprised or something didn't arrive. You have time to get it to them again, things like that. For the transcript request, whichever school that you are going to go to, you typically have to get that transcript to them by the beginning of July if you are going for a fall term. A lot of schools will ask for a transcript in the CSU system in January if you're applying for fall. So you would get them that transcript in January, and then once you tell whatever school you're going to, they will need a transcript showing your spring grades. And if you are finishing general education, either option B or C, you would want to ask for that to be certified for SRJC. And that certification request is part of the transcript request. And what that does is it tells the four-year university that you have completed IGETC or the CSUGE, and you do not have any more lower division general education to complete. You would only need to do upper division. If you are going to a UC and you completed your high school or you completed the language requirement in high school, we have to have a high school transcript showing that. So if that's not on file, you want to go and take care of that and make sure that you get that in before that transcript request goes through, or else you're just going to have to send another transcript. You're going to send transcripts from all schools attended. So maybe part of this will be done in January, but maybe you didn't send your AB or IB scores, then those will need to be done. SRJC does not send transcripts from other institutions. We only send our own. So you have to get transcripts from the other schools. Financial aid and scholarship, you can start the FAFSA now, you can hit submit now, but the final deadline is March 2nd, and you want to make sure that you get this done. And so don't delay on it. Get all the forms in that you need so that you can get your aid. On the FAFSA, you're going to include all school codes for all the campuses that you're applying to. And as I talked about when we covered financial aid, if you've never applied for financial aid, it's something that you may consider doing so now. Again, do you have siblings that are in college now? Was there a change of income? Has the income gone down? Are you now independent and not a dependent? That can make a big difference as well. Again, contacting the scholarship offices that you've applied to find out what are their deadlines and what scholarships could you apply to. That foundation scholarship at SRJC, that application is also due by March 2nd, so we make that easy for you. And then watch for the workshops in the Transfer Center on financial aid and scholarship. That might help you in getting things started and knowing what to do. If you are earning the associate's degree for transfer and you are attending a California State University, SRJC will need to verify that degree. And so we do that electronically, and we do that by you first applying for your degree. So if you're getting an associate's degree for transfer, and let's say you're transferring fall 17, and you've already applied for your spring classes, you can go ahead and do that application for the degree now. So log into your student portal. On the left-hand side, click on Check My Degree Progress. Go through that entire thing, and at the bottom there'll be a link that says application for graduation or something like that. It'll ask you a few more questions and then you'll be done. If you go back into your student portal and in the main box you select degrees and certificates, you would see that the degree has been received by Admissions and Records. Once they check it, it will go to approved pending if everything will be complete by the end of spring. You would then complete the spring semester. They'll go back and check your grades for spring and then issue the degree. So you have to apply for the degree by February the 15th so that we can verify that degree to the CSU soon after that. So get that degree in as soon as possible. If you mark on the CSU application that you're getting an associate's degree for transfer and you don't apply for the degree, you'll receive an email, most likely from me, saying, hey, you noted on the application that you're receiving a degree for transfer, but you did not apply for it. Please get it done. So just go ahead and do that. Even if you're not getting an associate's degree for transfer, you can still go ahead and apply for the degree now. Just make it easy on yourself. And then in probably, I think it's April, they start to send out the letters about graduation. You do not have to attend graduation, but if you choose to, Admissions and Records will send out a letter about the process of graduation, how the day goes, and purchasing your cap and gown. So every college has an orientation, and it's really important for you to attend the orientation because most likely this is where you'll get your first experience with an advisor so that you can figure out what classes to take the following semester. And it's just going to give you that basic understanding of a new system. How does advising and registration work? It's going to give you the opportunity to meet other students. So it's really important that you go prepared. Bring all transcripts, SRJC, AP, other schools you've attended, bring them all. And if you don't have them, but you've turned them into SRJC, come into counseling and we can print that for you. That's not a problem. Or go to A&R and they can print it. Take the time prior to look at the college's website. Look at your major. Find advising sheets. Those are on a website, and you can typically see the layout of the courses that you should be taking. You would obviously be looking at the third and fourth year because hopefully you've done everything for the first and second year at SRJC. You want to be informed if you're getting that associate's degree for transfer and make sure that the advisor understands that. Check out student services. What offices do you want to ask questions about, and what services do they provide, and where are they located? Look at the academic calendar. Be aware of dates and don't miss your registration time and things like that. Don't be shy. This is not the time to be shy. Ask questions. If you don't want to ask questions in the large group, then stay back and ask questions one-on-one. But really, you want to make sure that you understand what the process is and how to be successful when you get started. All right, testing requirements. So CSUs have the graduation writing assignment requirement. It varies from campus to campus. Some of them call them a GWAR or WST, so it just depends on the campus. You need to ask at orientation how and when it has to be completed for transfer students. So sometimes it has to be completed by the end of the first semester. Sometimes they'll have you do it at orientation, so it just varies. So watch your email and or your portal for announcements on how to satisfy that requirement. If you are an international student, most CSUs and UCs do not require that you complete the TOEFL. If you've been studying at a community college or in the United States, typically it's 3 years, or if you have the 60 units. So you most likely will not have to do the TOEFL, but it's something that you should find out from the campus you're transferring to. All right, so SRJC is on the semester system, but there are many colleges that are on the quarter system, and you need to be aware of this difference. So a semester system is 17 weeks. A quarter is 10 weeks plus finals, so it's going to move fast. You have 3 quarters in the academic year. You'd go fall, which would be late September to December, and then winter would be January to March, and spring would be March to June, or April to June. No, March to June, sorry. So it's going to be 10 weeks. It's going to go fast. Sometimes your professors will send out information, chapters 1 through 3 need to be read before the first day of class. Week 5 is going to be your midterm. A lot of students love the quarter system. Some people it's not going to work for. They need longer time to process information, and midterm at week 5 is a little startling for some people. So look into what system your college is going to be on and be prepared for that. All UCs are on the quarter system except for Berkeley and Merced. Most CSUs are on the semester system. The only campuses still on the quarter system are Cal Poly San Luis, Pomona, East Bay, and San Bernardino. CSU is in the process of trying to move all schools onto the semester system, but some schools are kind of putting, not wanting to cooperate with that, especially Cal Poly San Luis. So we'll see what happens. They've already moved 2 schools, fall 16, that were on the quarter system to the semester system. So they're kind of doing it in phases. Considering where you're going to live. Are you going to live on campus? For instance, if you're going to San Francisco State and you want to live on campus, the housing deadline, I believe, is in January. So you have to put a request in for housing at the beginning or middle of January. You don't even know if you're going there yet, but you put that housing in. So you need to research that out. When is the housing application due? Because that's different than your application for admissions. So housing on college campuses has definitely gotten a little bit nicer. There are transfer dorms, so a lot of times these are suites, and you have your own room and a common kitchen and living room with maybe 3 other people. There's campus apartments that upper classmen can live in, and transfer students. Obviously, there's advantages and disadvantages to campus housing. One, you're right there. So you can go back to campus, you can go to the library. A lot of times there's a 24-hour center where there's computer labs or study rooms or whatever. And so that makes it easy to go back and forth to campus. Some people don't like campus housing, and so you're most likely living with people you don't know, and things like that, which often can be hard. Most campuses do have family housing, but again, it's limited, so you need to get that application in and talk with the housing office about how do I get that. So just one more thing to add to your checklist about when's the application deadline, what is the fee, and so forth. Off-campus housing, obviously it'd be best if you could live close to campus, asking around about what are the safest places around campus for your own safety. And then again, advantages and disadvantages. You're going to be more removed from campus, and so that might be a little bit harder to get to know people. But if you've lived on your own already, then obviously you may feel more comfortable living in off-campus housing. If you've never lived with a roommate, there's things that you need to think about. So obviously it's a shared space, which can sometimes be difficult because people have different standards of living. So if you're a very neat person and you're living with somebody who's not so neat, that can cause confrontation. also just, morning or night person. So how loudly do they watch, have the television on or play their music, or do they have friends constantly coming over? And so there's things that you need to communicate with, set some ground rules, so that everybody's comfortable in the space. Don't wait. Do not wait. It will fester. It will turn into a huge argument. And so it's best if you recognize something that you say something right away so that it can get out in the open and a solution can be found that works for everybody. I would really encourage you to visit the campus a few times and explore the areas so that you can become comfortable and familiarize yourself with the campus and the town that you're moving to. Looking at where do you want to live if you're living off campus. Go and explore. Ask around for recommendations. What places do students like? Sometimes that can be hard, but go into the union and try to strike up a conversation with people, or go into one of the offices and talk with, people who work in there. A lot of times it's student workers, and so you can get some information from them. So thinking about the logistics of relocating, transportation. Do you need to drive to campus? How much is the parking permit? Are you going to bike to campus if you live off campus? So what's going to be best for you? Thinking about work. So if you work somewhere that, there's a same type of business in the town you're moving to, can you transfer your job from one to the next? Do you want to transfer your job? Does it make sense? My recommendation is at this point, it's time for you to start looking for a job that is relatable to your major. If you are, a psych major, a soc major, whatever, look for something that is going to be relatable to what it is that you're doing, and don't stay at Starbucks. Go do something else. I'm sure Starbucks has been a great job for you, but it's time to apply what you're learning into the workforce so that after graduation, you can show, yes, I have my degree and I've worked in the field doing this, this, and this. It's also going to give you the experience to figure out what parts you like and don't like, so that after graduation, I don't want to do this, but I definitely would, feel good about working in this part of the industry or whatever it might be. Each campus is going to have a student employment office where they have jobs on and off campus. Again, if you are receiving federal work study, then you can be getting paid through your financial aid, and that might be something for you to look into. Okay. Again, if you are receiving work study, see if you can find a job on campus that is relatable to what it is that you're doing. If you are what you're majoring in, if you are computer studies, see if there's something with the IT department. If you are child development, see if the child development center has a job. You try to make it relatable in some way. It's going to help you in the long run. Obviously, if you have children, you have already started thinking about those little people and what you need to do as far as logistically relocating with kids. So looking into schools or child care resources. Every campus has a child care center, and so finding out how do I get my child into the center if they are, obviously not a school-aged child. So that would be something to look into, and just bringing them to the school and the city so they can see where they're moving to and get familiar with the surroundings and get them excited. So university services, utilize campus services for transfer students. It's going to help ease your adjustment. So all campuses are going to have some type of transfer services. Sometimes it's a very small office, sometimes it's a shared space. But they offer, I know like UC Davis does like a monthly pizza for transfer students. It's just a way to connect with other people and feel like you have a home. If you are receiving services through disability resources at SRJC, you definitely want to figure out how to get your accommodations started at the new school. And so contacting the Disabled Student Services at the transfer school ASAP is really, really important. If you're a veteran and you're receiving veteran benefits, you definitely want to get in contact with Veteran Affairs so that your benefits get transferred over. International students, there's definitely services for that group, and you want to make sure all your paperwork is in order and you're ready to go. And again, just a place that's going to have services for you to connect with other students. Every campus has a career center, and within that career center is probably also the internship office. And so connecting early with these guys, I cannot express this enough. They can start helping you in figuring out, where are you going to be applying to after graduation, and they can help you look for internships and volunteer work or paid jobs. They can also, they also have career fairs, and typically the four-year universities have one each semester. They may also have specific career fairs, like a nonprofit career fair or an engineering career fair. And so watching for those opportunities to attend. Don't just go to class, okay? You are setting yourself up for the long run here, whether it be graduate school or a job. And so you need to attend these types of events as well. Familiarize yourself with campus offices. So where is the admissions or registrar's office? That's where you're going to pay your bill. If you need to pay in person or there's an issue with that, those are going to be the people who are checking you for graduation. Those are the people who are looking at your SRJC transcript and applying the credit. And so you want to know where they are and who to ask questions of. Find the financial aid and scholarship office. Find the housing office. So just know where these campuses' offices are so that if you need help, you can get the help that you need. Get yourself involved. So transitioning from SRJC to a university, it's going to be an adjustment, and sometimes it's a little bit hard. And so it's important that you find ways to get involved, especially if you're living off campus, especially if you're not living with roommates. So you want to connect with other people. So looking at, the different clubs or student government, how can you get involved? Doing study groups. Going to campus events, going to art shows or theater events or athletic games, whatever it might be. Maybe you're not playing a sport, but you enjoy sports. You enjoy playing sports. So you can do the intercollegiate sports, maybe soccer or frisbee golf or whatever. They have teams that you can join. And so looking for that. Find the campus rec and adventure office. So a lot of times these groups will do things on campus, or they'll, organize a ski trip or a trip to the city or a rock climbing event. And so seeking these guys out because they have a lot of fun. Work out in the rec center. It's going to get you out there. Most schools have newer rec centers. I think a lot of schools have put money into rec centers lately, and so you'll see these new rec centers, which are amazing. They offer group classes. They have, obviously weights and treadmills and basketball courts, volleyball courts, all kinds of stuff. So look for that. Working on campus, again, related to your major, will help you connect with other students and staff members on campus. Looking for opportunities to be a research assistant. So who in your department is doing some interesting research that you could be a part of? Looking for professors or grad students to be a mentor to you. And then completing an internship like I already talked about. All right, so meeting with your advisor. There are no, quote unquote, counseling office at the four-year university. So typically the counseling office is for undeclared students, and so those are freshmen and sophomore. So your counselor is actually going to be a professor within your department, most likely. Some larger departments might have a advisor that's all they do. They're not a teaching professor, they're just advisors. And so this is a little bit different from what you're used to. It's probably the one thing that I hear students have a challenge with the most is their sessions with their advisor are rushed. They don't have a lot of time with their advisor, or their advisor doesn't know things. And so you really have to be prepared for these meetings. Really look at what are the requirements for your major and graduation. Bring your SRJC information with you so that you have it if you need it. You should receive an evaluation of transfer credit by the end of your first term. And so bring that with you so that you can have it available if you need it, or if you have questions, you can ask the advisor. They may send you to the registrar's office, but that would be a place to start, is with your advisor. You have to ask questions. You have to speak up. Don't be afraid, okay? This is a person as well. So just know that a lot of times the advisor is, this is a part of their assignment. It's not necessarily what they love to do. And so you have to be an advocate for yourself. I would really recommend that you utilize the Career Center for additional help in preparing for your career or graduate school. And so the career counselors are more like SRJC counselors. And so that may be a place where you're comfortable to ask other questions and get some additional help. Okay. So you're going to experience a lot of changes, but it's exciting, it's fun, it's an adventure, and it'll take you a semester, maybe a semester and a half to get really comfortable. It's going to go by fast, so get involved. If you've been at SRJC for a few years, that's not the way it most likely will work when you transfer. They want you in and out. There's very specific plan you're following. So it's not, oh, you could do this or you could do that. It's, nope, this is what you're doing. So be prepared for that. Okay, we've prepared you well, and we hope that as you move on to the university, you have much success.